The leg went when I was helping my girlfriend Isabel Vance's dad haul a custom marble coffee table off a moving truck. My foot slipped, I pitched out of the cargo bay, and the corner of that monstrous slab of stone came down on my shin. I called Isabel, phone shaking in my hand. Her response was a laugh. "You are so useless. How do you manage to break a leg just moving something? My dad is probably so embarrassed for you. I'm at the hospital. Can you come keep me company?" I stared at my leg, already locked in a temporary splint. I couldn't exactly argue with her. Still, the words stung. I got hurt helping her dad. A little sympathy wouldn't kill her. Ryan's having a total meltdown. He just got dumped. I have to go calm him down. You could just find a doctor and get it handled. It's a minor surgery, that's all. Don't be so dramatic. I'll come see you at the hospital after I'm done here. I could hear the impatience, the irritation in her voice, like my call was wasting her time. That Ryan Carter, was her upperclassman from college, who just opened a new company in Denver, not far from her office. I paused, then said, "You know what? Don't bother coming. We're done." The voice on the other end was pure annoyance. "You are so useless. How do you manage to break a leg just moving something? My dad is probably so embarrassed for you." I looked down at my right leg, now immobilized in a heavy plaster cast. The pain was making sweat bead on my forehead, but for a moment, I couldn't find the words to fight back. That goddamn heavy marble table. Her dad, Mr. Vance, had ordered it from out of state and insisted on having it delivered today. The driver was alone, and Mr. Vance was too old, his back wasn't great. So I lent a hand. I never saw the patch of oil on the edge of the truck bed. My foot shot out from under me, and I tumbled off the edge. The corner of the table crushed my lower leg. The sound of the bones snapping was so crisp, I heard it myself. Grimacing through the pain, I shifted my grip on the phone. "I'm at the hospital. Can you come keep me company? Ryan's having a total meltdown. He just got dumped. I have to go calm him down. You can just find a doctor and get it handled." Ryan. Always Ryan. Her college crush, her one that got away, who had just opened a branch of his company in our city. The last flicker of hope inside me deflated like a punctured balloon. "It's a minor surgery, that's all. Don't be so dramatic. I'll come see you at the hospital after I'm done here." Her voice was rushed, as if every extra word to me was a monumental waste of her precious time. I stayed quiet for a moment, just long enough to hear the faint sound of a man's sobbing in the background and Isabel's gentle, soothing voice, a tone of tenderness she had never once used with me. I stared up at the sterile ceiling tiles and forced a smile that felt more painful than a grimace. "In that case, don't bother coming. We're done." I said the words and hung up before she could respond. Then I turned my phone off. The world went blessedly silent. A nurse came in and saw me alone. "Sir, where's your family? We need a signature for the surgery consent." I pointed to myself. "I'm my own family. I'll sign." The nurse blinked, surprised, but handed me the clipboard. With my good left hand, I slowly, deliberately signed my own name, Jacob Stone, on the line marked family member. My handwriting was shaky and uneven, a perfect reflection of my life at that moment. The surgery went fine. Lying in the hospital bed, the anesthesia still clinging to me like a fog, my leg felt numb. So did my heart. The patient in the next bed was surrounded by people. His wife and kids were peeling an apple for him, fussing over him. My side of the room was cold and empty, the only sound coming from the TV on the wall, tirelessly broadcasting the afternoon news. I picked up my phone and turned it on. No missed calls, no texts, nothing. Isabel hadn't tried to contact me again. She probably thought I was throwing a tantrum. Or, more likely, she just didn't care. I opened Instagram. My thumb hovered over her profile picture for a long time before I finally tapped it. The little red notification that felt like a slap in the face. She rarely posted. We had 0 pictures together. She always said she didn't like putting her private life on display. I opened her story. The latest one was from 10 minutes ago. Not text, not a selfie, but a link. Heartbreak. Ryan Carter, heir to Carter Corp, drinks his sorrows away after a bad breakup. I clicked it. It was a post from some local gossip blog, the writing dripping with melodrama. The pictures, however, were crystal clear. In a dimly lit bar, Ryan Carter was slumped over a table covered in empty liquor bottles, the very picture of devastated heartbreak. Isabel was sitting next to him, gently dabbing the sweat from his forehead with a napkin. Her eyes were filled with a raw, aching concern. It was a look I had never seen in the 2 years I chased her and the 1 year we'd been dating. I kept scrolling. The blogger knew how to get clicks. They had included a screenshot of Ryan's recent Instagram post. A carousel from 3 days ago. 9 pictures. And the star of every single one was Isabel, on a mountain summit at sunrise, smiling radiantly into the morning light. At the beach feeding seagulls, the sea breeze catching her long hair. In a high-end steakhouse, head bowed gracefully as she cut into her filet mignon. Every shot was stunning, and in every shot, Ryan was there. In a corner, a hand on her shoulder, his back turned to the camera, always at a perfectly intimate distance. In one photo, Isabel was wearing a delicate clover leaf bracelet. Van Cleef and Arpels. Expensive. I recognized it, because for my birthday last month, her gift to me had been a $30 tie from Macy's. She'd said that in her eyes, a bracelet and a tie were the same. It's the thought that counts, not the price tag. She'd said she was a traditional girl, that she wasn't comfortable with too much physical intimacy before marriage. That's why in a year of dating, the most we'd ever done was hold hands and hug. She'd said she hated having her picture taken, that it made her feel awkward. Turns out, she didn't hate it. She just hated it with me. I looked at each picture, one by one. I saved all 9 of them, along with the blog post. A wave of nausea churned in my stomach. I leaned over the side of the bed and dry heaved into the trash can. Nothing came up but bitter acid. I wiped my mouth and picked up my phone again. Found Isabel's contact. Blocked. Deleted. Her phone number. Blocked. Every connection we shared, severed. When it was all done, I felt the pain in my leg start to subside just a little. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. In those 2 weeks, Isabel never showed up. Not once. The day I was discharged, I checked myself out, leaning on a pair of crutches. When I got back to my apartment, there were traces of her everywhere. We didn't live together, which made the breakup clean. I didn't have to spend weeks packing up her things like other couples. The throw pillows on the couch were a color she'd picked. A few of her favorite romance novels sat on the bookshelf. The succulents on the balcony were ones she'd bought for me to take care of. She loved having them around, she'd said, but was too lazy to water them. I gathered the books, the pillow covers, and the half-dead succulents, and stuffed them all into a large trash bag. Then I opened my closet. In the corner was a small box. Inside was every gift Isabel had ever given me over the past year. 1 tie, 1 keychain, 1 lighter. Together, they probably didn't even add up to $100. I put the box in a tote bag and drove to her house. Her mom, Mrs. Vance, answered the door. She gasped when she saw my crutches. "Jacob, what happened to your leg?" "Had a little fall a while back. It's fine, almost healed." I smiled and handed her the bag. "Mrs. Vance, these are some things Isabel left at my place. I just wanted to return them." Mrs. Vance took the bag, glanced inside, and her expression grew uneasy. "Did you two have a fight?" "No fight," I said calmly. "We broke up." The color drained from her face. "Broke up? Why? What happened?" "Did Isabel throw one of her princess tantrums again?" "Don't take it to heart. I'll have a good talk with her." "It's not her, Mrs. Vance. It's my fault. I didn't want to elaborate. I have to get going." As I turned to leave, Mr. Vance came out from the back room. His brow furrowed when he saw my leg. "Your leg? Was that for moving the coffee table the other day?" "Yeah." Mr. Vance's face darkened. He looked at his wife, then back at me. His lips moved, but all that came out was, "How much were the medical bills?" "I'll transfer you the money." "Don't worry about it, Mr. Vance," I said, shaking my head. "I have insurance." Without giving them a chance to say another word, I turned and slowly made my way down the stairs on my crutches. I wasn't lying. It really was my problem. I was the one who was stupid, who was naive enough to believe that if I gave everything I had, I would get the same in return. Back in my car, I sat for a long time. My phone lit up with a notification from my bank. Mr. Vance had sent me $50,000. I hit decline. I added a note. "We're even." The phone rang. It was Mrs. Vance. I answered. "Jacob, what on earth is going on with you and Isabel? And why did you send the money back?" "Your uncle was just trying to help." Mrs. Vance sounded frantic. "Mrs. Vance, I can't take the money. I was the one who ended it. It has nothing to do with you. How can it have nothing to do with us?" "Jacob, tell me, did Isabel do something to wrong you? You tell me, and I'll make it right." I was silent. What could I say? That your daughter used me as her backup plan, her doormat, her on-call driver and wallet? That she took the money her company made using the technical support I provided and used it to buy luxury gifts for another man? Saying any of it would just embarrass 2 decent older people. "We just weren't a good fit, Mrs. Vance," I said, falling back on the most generic excuse in the book. I heard her sigh on the other end of the line. "That girl. We spoiled her rotten growing up. Don't let her get to you. Tell you what, Mr. Vance just got a couple of bottles of nice bourbon. Why don't you come over for dinner tonight? We can all sit down and talk things out." "I can't, Mrs. Vance." I refused immediately. "I'm really busy with work right now. You have to eat, no matter how busy you are. I really can't make it. Thank you for the offer." My tone was final, and she didn't press any further. After I hung up, I could just imagine the confrontation that was about to happen on her end. Sure enough, it wasn't long before my phone rang again, this time from an unknown number. I answered. Jacob Stone, what the hell is your problem? It was Isabel, her voice seething with rage. Returning that junk to my parents' house. Who are you trying to humiliate? My mom said you broke your leg. Sounds to me like you broke your brain. We're breaking up? Who gave you the right to break up with me? Did I agree to it? I didn't say a word, just listened quietly as she vented. So, in her eyes, my gifts to her were junk. And in her mind, I didn't even have the right to end things with her. Let me tell you something, Jacob. Don't push your luck. You were punching way above your weight with me. Do you have any idea how many guys are lining up to date me? You're going to get in your car, right now, drive to my house, and apologize to my parents. Or this isn't over. Hearing her self-righteous commands, I actually laughed. Isabel, I said, using her full name for the first time, do you honestly believe the entire world revolves around you? She paused, seemingly thrown off by my reaction. Did you think that by calling me up to rake me over the coals, I'd do what I always do? That I'd just apologize, regardless if it was right or wrong, and come running back to grovel? Did you think me breaking up with you was just a tantrum? That I was just waiting for you to throw me a bone so I could come crawling back? Let me be clear, it wasn't. I'm telling you, for real this time. I don't want you anymore. The line completely went silent. I could hear her sharp, shallow breaths. It was as if she was only just now realizing that I was serious. Her voice softened, laced with a panic she couldn't quite conceal. Jacob, don't be like this, Beep, beep, beep. I hung up and blocked the number. The world finally was quiet. My leg healed up mostly. I could walk without crutches, though I still had a slight limp. My childhood friend, Leo Martinez, called and asked me to go out for a drink. Man, I thought we'd lost you to that relationship. It's good you broke up. Let me show you what you've been missing. We met at a new lounge downtown. The vibe was cool. The music was chill. Leo poured me a glass of whiskey. Honestly, man, I never thought you and Isabel were right for each other. She always acts like everyone owes her something. You were the only one who treated her like a queen. I took a sip of the whiskey, the burn sliding down my throat. It's over. Good. Plenty of fish in the sea. I'll introduce you to some real ones next time. Leo clapped me on the shoulder. We were talking when the door to our private room was suddenly pushed open. A group of loud, stylishly dressed young people tumbled in, laughing. The one leading the charge was Ryan Carter, and standing next to him, looking mortified, was Isabel. Our eyes met. A flash of panic crossed her face, and she instinctively tried to step back. But Ryan slung an arm around her shoulder, grinning at me. Hey man, sorry to barge in. Lost a game of truth or dare. Mind if we borrow a light? His eyes scanned my face, a mixture of curiosity and smugness. I didn't move. Leo pulled a lighter from his pocket and tossed it over. Thanks, Ryan said, catching it. But he didn't leave. A girl next to him with heavy makeup chimed in. Just borrowing a lighter is boring. Come on, Carter, rules are rules. You gotta lay a kiss on her. Another guy cheered. Yeah, kiss her. Kiss her. Ryan smiled and looked at Isabel. Her face was bright red. She shot a desperate, pleading look in my direction. What did she want me to do? Stand up and rescue her? Play the knight in shining armor and save her from this embarrassing situation? I picked up my glass, leaned back against the sofa, and watched her with detached interest. Ryan seemed to be enjoying the attention. He tilted Isabel's chin up with his fingers, leaning in as if to kiss her. Isabel closed her eyes. Just then, a girl with short hair next to her tugged on her arm and whispered, Isabel, isn't that Jacob? I vaguely recognized the girl. Megan, one of Isabel's best friends. I met her a few times. Isabel's body went rigid. Ryan paused, following Megan's gaze to me. The smile on his face turned sly. Oh, look at that. A familiar face. He let go of Isabel, walked over to me, and extended a hand. Hey, I'm Ryan Carter, Isabel's friend. I didn't take his hand. I just stared at him. Leo snorted from beside me. Friend? The kind of friend who holds a guy's girlfriend and tries to kiss her. The atmosphere instantly turned icy. I let out a small laugh. Ex-girlfriend. A very traditional one. The color drained from Isabel's face, then flooded back in a wave of red. She hurried over and grabbed Ryan's arm. Ryan, let's just go. Let's not bother them. She wouldn't even look at me, as if I was the one who had embarrassed her. Ryan shrugged and let her lead him out. The rest of their crew followed, laughing and shouting, and the door closed, shutting out the noise. Leo spat on the floor. What a piece of shit. He looked at me. And you just sat there? That was your girlfriend. I drained my glass. Ex-girlfriend. After leaving the bar, I sat in my car without starting the engine. Leo's words echoed in my ears. And you just sat there? Yeah, I just sat there. I watched the girl I once put on a pedestal being paraded around in another man's arms like a trophy. My chest felt tight, like a heavy stone was sitting on it. I pulled out my phone and dialed my assistant, Kevin. Kevin, notify the legal and finance departments. I want you to immediately terminate all cooperative projects with Vance Technologies. Kevin hesitated. Mr. Stone, all of them? That includes the technology licensing agreement we signed last quarter. If we terminate unilaterally, we could be on the hook for a substantial penalty. Vance Technologies was Isabel's father's company. She'd been working there as a project director since she graduated. My company develops AI algorithms. We're well known in the industry. Isabel had begged and pleaded for months to secure a partnership with us. For her sake, I not only gave her a licensing fee far below market rate, but I also sent my top engineers to provide support. It was the only reason she had any standing in that company. Do as I say, I said, my voice flat. The penalty will come out of my personal account. And one more thing, add Vance Technologies to our corporate blacklist. Permanently. Kevin didn't dare ask any more questions. Yes, Mr. Stone. I'll get it done right away. After hanging up, I dialed another number. It was a private investigator a friend had recommended. A guy named Russo. Mr. Russo, I need you to look into someone for me. The name is Ryan Carter. Just returned from overseas. Opened an investment firm here in Denver. I want you to dig up everything you can on him. From childhood to now. Especially his love life. The more detailed, the better. I want all of his dirty laundry. The P.I. on the other end chuckled. You got it, Mr. Stone. Consider it done. I'll have a full report for you in 3 days. After making the calls, I started the car. The night air whipped in through the open window, cool against my face. I didn't drive home. Instead, I drove out to the Cherry Creek Reservoir. Staring at the dark water and the distant city lights, I remembered something. When Isabel was trying to convince me to license our tech to her company, she had joked, "If you help me with this, I'll marry you." I'd been so happy then, thinking our relationship was finally about to take a serious step forward. Looking back now, it was pathetic. Her promises, just like her, were full of cheap calculations. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Leo. Hey man, don't sweat it. A woman like that isn't worth it. Everyone steps in shit sometimes. I sent back an okay emoji. He was right. She wasn't worth it. Which meant it was time to finally clean this mess out of my life for good. The next afternoon, I got a call from Megan, the friend of Isabel's who had recognized me at the bar. Her voice was hesitant. Jacob? It's Megan. We've met. Yeah, I know. So, did you and Isabel really break up? Yes. There was a long pause on the other end. Because of Ryan? Not entirely, I said. It was because of us. Megan sighed. I've been wanting to say something for a while. Isabel, she's been getting way too close to Ryan lately. All of us friends could see it. We told her to be careful, that you were her boyfriend. But she wouldn't listen. She kept saying Ryan was just an old friend from college, that he was having a hard time adjusting to being back in the States, and that she was just helping him out. She said you were understanding, that you wouldn't mind little things like that. I listened without a flicker of emotion. Understanding? No. It was just my repeated concessions and compromises that had created that illusion for her. Jacob, I know what Isabel did was messed up, but she didn't mean for it to go this far. She's had a crush on Ryan since college. You know how it is. The one that got away is always different. With you, I think it was more about gratitude and habit. You were so good to her, and she knew it. She told me once that she knew she'd marry you someday. I let out a soft, humorless laugh. Megan, thank you for telling me all this. So, is there any chance for you two? Megan asked cautiously. After she got home last night, Isabel locked herself in her room and hasn't come out all day. I think she's really hurting. She's just not used to it, I said. Not used to the one person who always bent over backwards for her suddenly refusing to play along. She's not used to her traditional facade being shattered. She'll get over it in a few days. Megan was quiet for a moment. So you've made up your mind? I have. She sighed again. Okay. Well, to be honest, I'm calling on her behalf. She can't reach you. You blocked her on everything. She begged me to call and ask. What does you want? She said she'll do anything you want if you just stop being angry. I leaned back in my office chair, watching the traffic flow on the streets below. Do anything. Tell her I don't want anything. Tell her we're over. And tell her to stay out of my life. A good ex should be like they're dead. After hanging up, I stared into space for a while. Megan was probably the most level-headed of Isabel's friends. The fact that she made that call meant Isabel was genuinely panicking. But that panic wasn't born from love. It was born from a loss of control. A chess piece she had always held firmly in her grasp had suddenly jumped off the board. Of course, she wouldn't know how to handle it. Too bad. I was done being her pawn. Isabel finally went home, summoned by a relentless barrage of calls from her parents. As soon as she walked in the door, she saw the small box I had returned sitting on the coffee table. Mrs. Vance was on the sofa, her face like stone. Mr. Vance sat beside her, smoking in silence. So you decided to show your face, Mrs. Vance said, her voice ice. Isabel didn't respond. She kicked off her shoes and sat down. You see that, Mrs. Vance asked, pointing at the box. I see it, Isabel said, her tone flat. So what? It's just a cheap tie and a stupid keychain. He returned it because he's embarrassed by it, right? Crack, Mrs. Vance's hand flew across her daughter's face. How dare you? We all saw how good that boy was to you. And you? What did you ever give him? Things that barely cost $100 combined. Isabel stared, stunned, one hand cupping her cheek. You hit me. I should do more than hit you. Mrs. Vance was shaking with fury. Do you have any idea that Jacob's company just pulled every single one of our contracts? What? Isabel froze. This morning, your Uncle Mark called me. He said Jacob's company unilaterally terminated our agreements, even revoking the technology license. The entire board is waiting for you to go back and explain yourself. The blood drained from Isabel's face. She knew better than anyone how crucial that license was. It was her biggest professional achievement in 2 years, the very foundation of her position at the company. How could he? She shrieked, her voice filled with a mix of fury and humiliation. Who does he think he is? Who does he think he is? Mr. Vance ground out his cigarette in the ashtray. He's the one whose company owns the tech. They can give it to whoever they want, and they can take it back whenever they want. Do you have any idea? We all thought you two were close to getting married. He treated you like his future wife, giving us the tech at a low price and investing in us. And how did you treat him? And another thing, Mr. Vance said, his eyes boring into her. What's the deal with that Ryan kid? Don't think for a second that your mother and I are oblivious. You've been out all hours, not answering your phone. You were with him, weren't you? I was not. Isabel shot back, her chin high. Ryan and I are just friends. There's nothing going on between us. Nothing, Mrs. Vance sneered. Is nothing why you left Jacob in the hospital with a broken leg? Is nothing why you forgot your own boyfriend's birthday? Is nothing why you haven't been home in days? Isabel's lips trembled. She couldn't speak. A wave of regret washed over her. Not regret for getting close to Ryan, but regret for pushing Jacob this far. In her world, Jacob was a constant. No matter what she did, he was supposed to be there, waiting for her to come back. But this time, it seemed like he was really gone. Fine, we're broken up. Who cares? She yelled, still trying to sound tough. I'll be perfectly fine without him. She grabbed her purse and stormed out of the house. She had to get to the office. She refused to believe that without Jacob, her company would collapse. She would pay. She would pay whatever it took to buy that tech license back. She would show Jacob Stone that Isabel Vance would never be threatened by anyone. When Isabel burst into the company, the conference room was already full. The old guard from the board of directors, the veterans from her father's generation, they were all there, their faces grim. When she threw open the door, all eyes snapped to her. Isabel, what in God's name is going on? Why did Mr. Stone's company suddenly cancel all our partnerships? Vice President Mark Williams demanded, his tone accusatory. Isabel opened her mouth, but didn't know how to explain. I heard it was because of a personal issue. That you offended Mr. Stone, another director asked. That's not true. Isabel denied immediately. It's Jacob, he's petty. He's using the company to get back at me over nothing. Nothing. VP Williams slammed a file on the table. The license is terminated and all technical support is gone. Do you have any idea what kind of losses that means for our current projects? Do you know what it would cost to acquire a similar license now? Already asked. On the open market, at least $100 million. $100 million. The number made Isabel's head spin. She hated Jacob. She never imagined he would be this ruthless. It was just a breakup. Did he have to destroy her career over it? She gritted her teeth, forcing a calm expression onto her face. $100 million? This company can afford it. Mark, contact Jacob's company immediately. Tell them we're prepared to purchase the license at full market value. She refused to believe there was anything money couldn't buy. VP Williams looked at her like she was a child throwing a tantrum. Already contacted them. Their response was that Vance Technologies has been placed on their unreliable partner list. What does that mean? It means that it doesn't matter if you offer $100 million or $1 billion. They will not sell any technology to us. Ever. Their patents are exclusive, both here and abroad. Do you understand? His words were like a bucket of ice water dumped over her head. Isabel was completely stunned. She finally understood. Jacob wasn't just angry. He wasn't threatening her. He was telling her in the coldest, most direct way possible that the game was over. The conference room erupted with accusations and questions directed at her. She couldn't hear any of it. Her mind was consumed by a single thought. She had to find Jacob. She had to ask him to his face what he wanted from her. She bolted from the room like a madwoman, got in her car, and sped to my office building. The receptionist stopped her. "I'm sorry, Miss Vance. You can't go up without an appointment. You tell Jacob Stone that Isabel Vance is here, and he needs to come down and see me," she screamed hysterically. The young receptionist looked flustered but dialed the internal line. A moment later, she hung up and offered Isabel a practiced, polite smile. "I'm sorry, Ms. Vance. Mr. Stone says he's very busy and isn't seeing any visitors, especially not visitors named Vance." Mr. Russo was efficient. 2 days later, an encrypted file appeared in my inbox. I opened it. Inside was a detailed dossier on Ryan Carter, covering everything from elementary school to his time abroad. I scrolled straight to the end, to the section on his romantic life. As expected, Mr. Carter was a world-class player. The file showed that in the few short months since his return, he had been simultaneously dating 4 different women. One was an art student at the local university. One was a yoga instructor at a high-end gym. One was a small business owner who ran a flower shop. And the 4th was Isabel Vance. He was generous with all of them, showering them with expensive gifts and sweet talk, crafting the perfect image of a devoted lover. The Van Cleef and Arpels bracelet Isabel had received, the other 3 women each had one too. I looked at the photos and the screenshots of text messages and could only feel a grim sense of irony. Isabel thought she was his unobtainable, one that got away. In reality, she was just another fish in his pond. I smiled. This was about to get interesting. I organized the evidence of Ryan's affairs with the other 3 women into separate packages. Then, using an anonymous email address, I sent the files to each of them. But I didn't send one to Isabel. I didn't want to be the one to shatter her fantasy. I wanted her to see with her own 2 eyes just how pathetic her so-called great love truly was. With that done, I closed my laptop, feeling a sense of calm. All I had to do now was wait. And sure enough, a few days later, the show began. That afternoon, Isabel was restless and drove to her favorite cafe. She had just parked when she saw a crowd gathered around a flashy red sports car down the street. The star of the show was Ryan Carter. He was being pulled in 2 directions by 2 beautiful women. "Ryan, you liar. You told me I was the only one." One of the women, who had short hair, was sobbing. She was holding up her phone, the screen displaying the exact photos I'd sent her. "Baby, listen to me. It's all a misunderstanding." Ryan pleaded, his face a mask of panic. "A misunderstanding? Then who is this bitch?" The other woman, with long hair, demanded, pointing at her rival. "And why does she have the exact same bracelet you gave me?" Isabel's hand instinctively flew to the clover leaf bracelet on her own wrist. She stood frozen, a chilling cold seeping in her bones, as if she'd been struck over the head. She wasn't special. All those gestures she thought were just for her were nothing more than cheap, mass-produced copies. Ryan scrambled to placate both women, completely overwhelmed. Then he looked up and saw Isabel standing a short distance away. His expression flickered, and he forced an apologetic smile, mouthing the words, "Wait for me." Isabel stared at his hypocritical face, and a wave of nausea washed over her. She fought it down, and then she thought of me, Jacob. She thought of how I would always have her favorite latte waiting for her when I picked her up from work. She thought of how she once casually mentioned craving tacos from a food truck across town, and how I drove for over an hour just to get them for her. She thought of how I'd broken my leg helping her father, and how she called me useless over the phone. All those little details, all that effort she had once dismissed, now felt like 1,000 tiny knives, carving into her heart. The memories, suddenly sharp and painful, made her ache for me. Frantic, she pulled out her phone, needing to call me. She scrolled desperately through her contacts, only to realize with a sickening finality that she had no way of reaching me anymore. Every number, every account was blocked. It finally hit her that we were really over. She had always lived under the delusion that no matter what, if she ever decided to turn back, I would be there waiting. But this time she had turned back, and the space where I used to be was empty. Isabel began searching for me like a woman possessed. She came to my company, my apartment, the restaurants we used to frequent, but I avoided her every time. She was like a ghost haunting the city, but she could never find me. Finally, one day, she cornered me in the lobby of my office building. I had just finished a meeting and was heading to the parking garage. Jacob! She ran towards me, her eyes red-rimmed and her face gaunt. All traces of her former arrogance were gone. She threw her arms out, trying to hug me. I took a reflexive step back, and her arms closed on empty air. She froze, a wounded look in her eyes. I looked at her, my voice completely flat. Ms. Vance, I didn't think traditional girls like you were in the habit of throwing themselves at men in public. What would your future husband think if he saw this? It's not a good look. My words were a needle, aimed precisely at her most painful wound. Tears instantly welled in her eyes. Jakob, I'm sorry. I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong, she sobbed, the words tumbling out a rush. Nothing happened with Ryan. I swear. The most we ever did was. He kissed my cheek a few times. I never did anything to disrespect you. I was saving myself for you. I was always. I listened to her pathetic confession and found it laughable. A few times, I cut her off, taking a step closer until I was speaking directly in her ear, my voice low enough that only she could hear. Remember this, Isabel. Forget a few kisses. That whole traditional girl thing you were so proud of? As far as I'm concerned, once you've so much as held hand with another man, you're dirty. My voice was quiet, but each word was a stiletto. Isabel's body began to tremble violently, her face turning a ghastly white. She looked at me, her eyes filled with desperation and pleading. Jacob, please, just give me one more chance. Please. It will never happen again. I'll do anything you want. You always said you wanted me. As she spoke, she actually started to unbutton her coat, as if she could somehow use her body to win me back. The disgust I felt was now impossible to hide. Put that cheap act away. Isabel, we are finished. You missed your chance. And when a chance is gone, it's gone forever. You need to move on. I need to move on. No one waits in the same place forever. Without another glance, I turned and walked toward the parking garage, leaving her to the sound of her own heartbroken sobs. I didn't look back. 3 years passed in a blur. The company I founded went public, and my net worth skyrocketed. My leg healed completely, leaving no trace of the injury. My life and career were on solid ground. The only real change was that there was someone new by my side. Her name was Clara Evans. She was an alumna from my university who I'd met at a reunion. A bright, sunny girl who was always smiling. She didn't care about my limp when we first met. She'd bring me homemade dinners when I worked late. She'd drag me to the farmer's market on weekends, and we'd argue playfully over what to cook. She loved taking pictures, and my phone was filled with photos of her, laughing, making faces, just being herself. We argued, of course, but every time, she'd wrap her arms around me and pout. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll make it up to you. I'll cook your favorite slow-cooked brisket tonight. How about that? Being with her, I finally understood what a normal relationship felt like. It was easy. It was sweet. We held hands, hugged, and kissed without any pretense or calculation. When the time was right, everything else fell into place naturally. I introduced her to all my friends. Leo and the others all agreed. I'd finally found the right one. We were planning on getting married next spring. As for Isabel, I occasionally heard bits and pieces about her from Megan. Her father's company, after my funding and support were pulled, went bankrupt within a year. Mr. Vance couldn't handle the blow and fell ill. She had to sell the house and her car just to pay off the debts. Ryan Carter, after his reputation was ruined, had quietly skipped town long ago. Isabel never dated again, never got married. Megan said she had changed a lot. Her pride was gone, replaced by a quiet, withdrawn silence. One day, Clara and I were at the mall, and I saw her from distance. She was alone, carrying a grocery bag, looking lost and lonely. She saw us too. She saw me lean down and gently brush a stray strand of hair from Clara's face. She saw Clara stand on her toes and plant a quick, happy kiss on my cheek. It was a kind of intimacy we had never shared. Her gaze lingered on us for a long, long time. I could see the regret and the pain in her eyes. But I just calmly looked away, took Clara's hand, and led her into another store. Clara glanced back curiously. That woman back there was staring at us. Do you know her? I smiled and gently tapped the tip of her nose. No, just a stranger, I guess. Someone who wishes she had what we have.